Hey guys, so today I'm filming a video on my top 15 disappointing products of 2015. If you are someone that gets offended by these fail type of videos, then please go check out my Best of Beauty 2015, which I'll link up here so you can see all of my favorite products of the year. It's more of a positive video, but in this video, I'm going to be very upfront, very honest with the products that just did not work out for me this year. And of course, I have to put out the disclaimer that just because something didn't work for me doesn't mean that it is not going to work for you. And I do not mean to offend anyone by mentioning these products I don't like if it happens to be your favorite product. And that's something that happens because everybody is so different. There might be a product that I consider holy grail that you think is absolute garbage and vice versa. I hope you guys are not going to be offended by this video. And also, I am not trying to bash any of these companies that I'm going to be mentioning because all of these companies make products that I do still really enjoy. It's just these specific products didn't work for me for a particular reason. And I don't like to be disappointed by products, but if you guys have ever watched my reviews, you know I have really high standards for products, and there are some things that I don't have to actually show you today, and that's because I returned them since they were high-end products that I was disappointed in. If these products work for you, I am jealous because I wanted them to work for me. I bought them with the intention of loving them. So I'm going to have all of these items listed in the description box, and I will also link to any videos that go into more detail like reviews or first impressions. So make sure you check those videos for more information. And in those videos, I give you pros, cons, and my final thoughts. And today I'm just going to be talking about the cons. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it and come up with some positive. These are all things that I don't like, and I'm going to tell you why. The first fail of the year is the YSL Touche Eclat Blur Primer. This is a sample size of this. The full size is 1 ounce and it retails for about $50. $50 for a primer? Crazy, unless it is something absolutely fantastic. This is a silicone primer with gold flecks. Whoop-de-doo. The gold flecks don't do anything for you. They just look pretty in the bottle. This feels like a very basic silicone primer. It feels like the original Smashbox photo finish, which does absolutely nothing for me. It makes my skin feel smooth, but it doesn't do anything for pores. It does not control my oil, and it doesn't prolong the wear of my makeup. This primer does absolutely nothing for me. My next fail is the YSL Touche Eclat Blur Perfector. The packaging is so beautiful. I really wanted to love this, but I just didn't. You're supposed to be able to use this 3 different ways on its own to set your makeup and as a touch-up. So I hated this to set my makeup. I need powder. I'm very oily. So this just gives you a natural finish, and also I really need to set the areas on my face where I have some wrinkles because that will crease terribly if I don't set it with a powder. I set it with this. It creased so bad. It accentuated every single crease and crevice on my face. Not cute at all. So definitely did not like this to set my makeup. And then as a touch-up, I didn't like it either because it didn't leave me matte. It left me dewy, and I'm already dewy because I'm oily. I need to touch up and be matte. So I just didn't like this for my oily skin. The third primer that was a fail for me this year was the Becca Ever Matte Poreless Priming Perfector. I've heard incredible things about that, so I was really excited to try it out. And it just didn't work. That is very, very thick, like Elmer's glue. It's really hard to blend out, and it's almost like it needs to be a very precise science when you're using that product, because if you get too much, it is going to ruin your makeup and make it look really uneven and patchy. Also, if you put it on an area that's more normal, it is going to dry it out and you're going to look like Sahara Desert. So I have some areas of my face that are more normal and some that are extremely oily. The normal areas, it looked really dry, cakey, terrible. In the areas that were super oily, it didn't do enough. It kept me matte for a couple hours, but for a $40 primer, I expected to keep me matte for 10 hours. Like, that's just way too much money for a primer that only keeps me matte for a few hours. And it was so difficult to work with because of the texture. I know some people love it, but I could not get it to work for me. Then I have 3 foundation fails of the year. I tried a bunch of foundations this past year trying to find my perfect foundation, and unfortunately, the majority of the foundations I tried were awful. They did not work for me whatsoever. So I have a couple to mention in this video. The first being the Becca Ever Matte Shine Proof Foundation. That was a pretty good color for me, but it gave light medium coverage, which I don't get down with. And it didn't do much for oil control, so I was not that impressed with that one. It as well was about $40, and I expect very full coverage foundation if I'm going to be paying that much, and it didn't do that much to mattify. And if it claims to be a mattifying foundation, I expect it to do better at mattifying than regular foundations, and it just didn't. So the coverage and the oil control was definitely a bummer for me, as well as the price, so it definitely didn't live up to its claims in my opinion. My next foundation fail was the L'Oreal True Match. I had the shade W1 Porcelain. People have been raving about this foundation for years. It did not work for me whatsoever. With 2 layers, this was still only light medium coverage. I'm not going to put on more layers than that because I'm going to be a big old cake face, and that's not what I want. So the coverage was terrible. This did nothing for oil control. I had to touch up so much throughout the day, and this made my skin look terrible. It accentuated my pores, which some foundations can do. It accentuated them really badly though, but the worst part about this foundation is that it made it look like my skin had so much texture. I was not breaking out at the time. I do not have texture on my skin. I don't have bumps all over my face. My skin is really even and smooth, but no, this looked like my cheeks were like a big old bumpy road. It was ridiculous. I have never had any other foundation do that to me. I then, took off the foundation, looked at my skin, it didn't look bumpy. I tried other foundations, it didn't look bumpy. So this emphasized texture that I didn't even know I had. This is probably like hands down one of the worst foundations that I've ever tried. And then my last foundation fail was the Catrice All Matte Plus foundation. When I did my first impression, I did have some of you say that the US version might be different than the UK. And for the UK's sake, I hope so. I hope yours is way better because this sucked for me. I was able to get light, medium at best coverage with 2 layers on my skin, which I don't love. I can be okay with medium buildable, but just light medium, that doesn't do anything for me. And this has 5 shades. That's terrible. For being a mattifying foundation, this did absolutely nothing for oil control. I got just as oily throughout the day as I do when I wear a regular foundation, so that was a huge bummer. And this also oxidized on me. I have only ever tried a few foundations that have oxidized on me, and this was one of them, which is so disappointing because the color was already a little bit dark, but I could work with it. But after a couple hours, no, it was extremely obvious that it was too dark for me and it wasn't the right undertone. So this foundation was just a big fail. My next fail of the year is a blush. This is a MAC Blush Ombre from the Toledo collection in the shade Ripe Peach. I was so excited to get this because it was re-promoted from a spring collection years and years and years ago. I do believe that the formula changed since then. This is one of the sheerest blushes I've ever used. I like in-your-face, wham bam, intense blushes. Sheer blushes and I don't even mess around. Like, no thank you. This was so sheer. It's a beautiful color. It's also more orange than the original blush was. The original Ripe Peach was a little bit more on the pink side. So I don't love that this is more orangey, and this is also incredibly sheer. So I was hella disappointed with this product. My next fail of the year would be the Colorpop Highlighters. You guys know how much I love Colorpop as a brand, but this product and I just do not get along. I have never really heard anybody saying negatives about this product except for me. So definitely, don't take my opinion as your only opinion when it comes to these Colourpop highlighters because most people love them. The texture of the highlighters is different than the blushes and the bronzers. This is thinner and more slippery, which I dislike, but other people prefer. And I just had a really hard time applying this on my cheeks. The best brush to use with this is the e.l.f. Small Stipple brush, but I tried applying this the other day and I was having trouble getting the pigmentation, so I layered it a little bit and then I tried to blend it out. I got to work, I looked in the mirror and literally gasped because my skin looked terrible. It broke up the foundation on my cheekbone and it looked so bad. Like, I could not figure out any way to fix it. Every time I tried to fix it, it got worse and worse, so I just left it alone. And I just really prefer powder highlighters. This formula does not jive with my skin. Now, what I love about the blushes and the bronzers is that they can go over top of powder. This cannot. It will cake up, break up. this does not go over powder. I have to set my face with powder, and I'm not going to put a colored powder on top of this because then it's going to change the color of the highlighter. So I just can't use these. They do not work for me at all. Now moving on to some eyeshadows. I have two of the e.l.f. Flawless eyeshadow quads. These are two of their newer shades, Natural Matte and Matte for Plum. These are terrible. These are so bad. They are incredibly, incredibly chalky. They blend out to be super muddy. They are not that pigmented. They're terrible, terrible eyeshadows. Most eyeshadows I can work with. I do not even want to attempt to work with these. They're so bad. You are going to have a really hard time getting your eyeshadow to look nice using these because they are so patchy, uneven, and look muddy no matter what brush you use or how precise you are when applying them. These are terrible. Next fail is a product that was sent to me. This is the Memebox Pony Palette number 2, and this is made to be a sheer palette just to give you a nice sheer glittery wash on the lid, and that's why I don't like this. I like really intensely pigmented shadows, so sheer shadows just are not for me. These are also so dry that they're really flaky, so they don't stick to the eye really well. You definitely do need a sticky base to make these adhere. The 4 lightest shades are basically glitter toppers. They don't give any pigmentation whatsoever. The 4 deeper shades do give a little bit of pigmentation, but nothing compared to basically any other shadow brand. Then I have one eyeliner fail of the year, and that is the Pure Minerals Double Ego Liner. Nikki Tutorials used it in one of her tutorials and it looked amazing on her, and I went out and bought it. So it is a dual-ended liner. One side is liquid and one side is pencil, which is a super cool concept. I know that NYX has a liner called Two Timer that is like that, but it might only come in black and brown. And this was an amazing, amazing teal color that I had tried. The liquid liner didn't show up for crap. Maybe I just got a crap one because Nikki Tutorials, it looked amazing on her. It worked so well. I could not get it to show up at all, and it was so faint that it wasn't worth it just for like the pencil side, because I can get a teal pencil liner from a bunch of drugstore brands. So now moving on to the lip products. I'm surprised I only have 4 to mention in this video because I'm extremely critical of lip products because my lips are so sensitive and so particular. So the first ones I have here are some of the Maybelline Rebel Blooms lipsticks. I really like the creamy mattes. I like the vivids. These were a no-go. I was excited for them because they're beautiful pastel shades. I had 3 shades. The 2 I have here would be Peach Poppy, and I also have Lilac Flesh. The other shade I have is Blushing Bud, which is just like a natural pink color. It is like the only natural shade in this line. And these were not opaque at all. I applied 3 layers. They were super thin. They didn't last on the lips at all. So I was really disappointed with the pigmentation and the lasting power. And these are really cool, unique shades that you really don't see from a ton of brands except for some like indie brands. So I was really excited about these, but the formula was just not good. My next lip product fail would be the Jordana Modern Matte Lipsticks. I know a lot of people raved about these. Maybe some of those people genuinely liked these, and maybe some other people just raved about them because these products were sent to them by Jordana. I don't really know, but that's why I bought 4 of them, because I had heard so many amazing things. These are awful, like absolutely awful. I got 4 colors and they all performed terribly. So there was a color that I loved, which was Matte Bear. This is a beautiful terracotta shade. Like, this color is beautiful, but the formula is terrible. This is so thick and waxy. It is so hard to apply on your lips. Literally, I'm not just dragging the lipstick, I'm pulling the skin of my lips around trying to get any product on them. This is so incredibly waxy. It is terrible. It just feels like a super cheap, crappy lipstick. My next lip product fail would be the Maybelline Color Blur Cream Matte Lip Pencils. I have 2 shades I like to Mauve it, and I'm blushing, just a mauve and a rose. These are the 2 most natural shades in the range. Everything else is hot pink, orange, red, purple. So if you don't like bold shades, you're not going to like these anyway. And I did not enjoy this formula at all. These made my lips so dry and cracked feeling. I don't even have that with liquid lipsticks. It's pretty terrible that a jumbo lip pencil made my lips feel worse than a liquid lipstick did. Like, I could not stand the way my lips were feeling. They hurt so bad I couldn't wait to wipe this off. And also, for being such a drying matte, these colors lasted 2 hours on me, and I just had to keep reapplying throughout the day. The one positive for really super drying matte lipsticks is that they're supposed to last forever. These lasted 2 hours, like unacceptable lasting power for how dry these were, so definitely was really let down by these products. My last fail would be the NYX Intense Butter Glosses. Again, I heard everyone rave about these. I purchased 6 shades and no. They're very pigmented. They have a lot of pretty colors, but these bleed terribly. I never have lip products bleed on me. So if you are prone to bleeding, you're gonna hate these. Like, you definitely need to use a lip liner, a clear lip liner, lip primer, anything you can to keep these in place, but they bleed so bad, and because they are such a pigmented gloss, like a lip lacquer, they're gonna transfer on every single thing that your mouth comes in contact with. So for deep shades like this, I'm like super paranoid wearing this that it's gonna get all over my face. So this is just a formula that it's way too high maintenance for me to deal with. So guys, those are my top 15 disappointing products of 2015. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to know what your fails of the year were and what your thoughts are on these products. Thank you so much for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.